Hey guys, Jen with Astro Tea. Sorry I'm so dark. I've done this like 3 times, so we're gonna see if the 3rd time is a charm. So, we are talking today about the full moon in Taurus that's happening on the 15th, which is Friday at 24 degrees Taurus and 1 minute. So, we have Saturn stationing direct, and it's been drilling down on that 12th degree of Pisces for the entire month. The sun will oppose Uranus, and what does that mean? If we have a full moon, if the sun is opposing something, then the moon is conjunct to it. So we have the sun conjunct Uranus, or the moon conjunct Uranus, I'm sorry. So take a look at my thumbnail. It is 3 cows that are stranded on after an earthquake, and they're stranded on this like hill. So it's really just exactly what's going on with this full moon, because we have that Taurus, the cow figures, we have Saturn feeling alone, sitting and waiting at that one spot for an elongated amount of time, because Uranus went and threw a wrench and everything and shook the ground underneath them. So just that, it was so cute and very telling. It's something that happened in New Zealand back in 2016. Anyway, so our normally steadfast, stable, grounded, lover of the good life Taurus, kind of rigid, kind of stubborn, is about to really give us all a wake-up call. So this full moon is just super jam-packed with a lot of transformative energy. Of course, that Uranus in there conjunct to the moon. Mercury has also begun its pre-shadow period. I made a video on that. I'll link it at the end if you haven't seen it. It will be making its first of 3 squares with Saturn, and it's 3 squares with Saturn and 3 oppositions to Jupiter, and that's going to be during its pre-shadow period, then its retrograde period, and then its post-shadow. So we haven't been inside for a while, and I think Dean's excited. He'll probably come popping up here and say hi to all y'all, because he hasn't in a while. So anyway, so we have that Mercury squaring Saturn and opposing Jupiter, so expect big things there. And yes, we also have that Mars opposition to Pluto that will really just take us into 2025 due to the Mars retrograde cycle that is going to start on December 6th. So again, that now we have Mercury pre-shadow period, and we have the Mars pre-shadow period. So we want to pay attention to what's going on now, because pre-shadows can be a sneak peek of what is to come in the retrograde cycle. Mars's pre-shadow started in early October. So kind of, look at what's been going on in that Martian kind of feel with Mars moving out of Cancer and into Leo. Mars in Leo is like a look at what I'm doing, y'all, I'm king of the world type energy, and I am the center of attention, and I am going to make things happen. And it is, I think, that we are really seeing that. Opposing to Pluto is that opposition to leadership, maybe now finding a new leader or a new president, electing one. But interestingly, Neptune, I think, plays a very key role in all of this. It gets, I kind of get more into that as we go along, but because it is about coming out of the darkness, coming out of the confusion, and coming into the light, that reflection back before moving forward. So also sextiling Uranus and trying to Pluto at those last degrees, that full moon is bringing us into the future. So this Taurus moon might be slow going because we do have everything moving into retrograde, but it is otherwise bringing us into the future. So yes, it is unknown. Many of us are scared, especially because of the result of that very polarized election that we've had here in the U.S. Sorry to bring it up, but we know it's still on the top of everyone's mind with everything that's going on in the U.S. right now. Pretty much half the country, the country is completely polarized. We have half of it that voted one way, almost, half that voted another way. Half is positive about the future with their vision of this great new country, you know, that make America great again, whole thing. The other side is filled with fear over, you know, what could happen. Are rights going to be taken away? Are things going to, you know, what's going to happen? And that fear that, is he going to become a dictator? Is this going to happen? All the things that we've heard. Normally our grounded Taurus will feel on shaky ground again. So this can be a literal sense as well. So keep in mind, this can bring instability to the earth itself, because Taurus is that earthy sign. It can bring that instability, that earthquakes or mudslides, things like that, especially the mudslides, I think, because of that Saturn just sitting there in Pisces, sitting there in that water sign, kind of drilling down. And we've seen this in the weather patterns that have happened. I know in Connecticut there was one where, and because Saturn's sitting in one place, stationing, it's like that rain just stopped and just drilled down on this one area and it flooded. Same with what happened in North Carolina during the hurricanes. So just it's really a lot that could happen to the ground underneath us, that it could much literally be unstable. But you also want to know that this is, of course, ruled by Libra. So on a more personal level, women might be feeling most unstable, or that feminine energy, because that full moon in Taurus that's conjunct Uranus can bring a lot of anxiety for women, and we do already see that, especially with these election results. There are reasons behind how we feel, and a lot of them is because of what's happening in the stars right now. You know, again, worried about what's going to happen to our, you know, women's rights. Even our relationships may go through an unstable phase. So Venus, again, represents our relationships, and if there were cracks in the relationship, you can expect those cracks to get burst open. But if you have a good foundation, I would expect it really to be nothing more than a bump in the road. But with Venus squaring the North Node, it's kind of going to feel like that. What is meant to be is meant to be, and what is not is not. And Mars opposite Pluto will see to that. So and Mars in Leo is saying, you know what? If this doesn't work out, I am going to come on top. I'm going to come out stronger. I'm going to come out a leader and just lead myself. I won't shrink down into the shadows. So even though there's a lot of scary energy going on, I'd like to try and see through and try and see the more positive sides. But this can also be when things get shaky, because fearing what is destined to happen. Again, Venus square that North Node, women in fear. And women play a prominent role, I think, in a lot of this. Fear of the unknown, Venus square that North Node, which conjuncts Neptune. Fear of what's going to happen, fear of what is destined to happen. We saw in the astrology as of late a lot of that strong feminine energy, like I've talked about, which is why I think a lot of astrologers really thought and predicted that Kamala Harris was going to win the election. But I still believe that the feminine energy is going to be very prominent in a different way. I see the opposition and fear. I know it's hard to see the positives for some of you in it, with the sadness, fear, and all that. That Mars opposite Pluto, that resistance, that taking action. And one of the things that I worry about, especially with women being so fearful, so angry, so polarized against who has been elected, the Mars opposition is that resistance to authority. So, those that are digging their heels in like a bull, not wanting to move forward, being stubborn, not wanting change, not wanting to accept the results perhaps, saying that you will not take our rights. And, so this could get, I think it could get ugly before it gets pretty. Unlike that normal Venus kind of thing. like I've said in past videos, if I were Trump and if he has an astrologer, I think he has beefed up security because I think that would definitely benefit. But I really don't see anything bad happening. A lot of threats maybe, but as we've seen, Uranus on his MC has really proven to be more of a help than a hazard. Because of the quick move that he made that could have saved his life because he looked in this direction instead of looking straight, those kind of things, those quick things. So, natally, he has Uranus conjunct his north node and conjunct his sun, which is also in a full moon. So he has that energy of what is meant to happen, what that destiny is, and he is destined to make waves. Is that Uranus in there? So with his ego, with his passions, and just that sun, center of the universe type thing, he was meant or destined to make waves, to shake things up, upheave the status quo, and with the full moon in his 10th house, I see that really becoming something that is almost like playing out before our eyes, that we can see that he is already saying how he's going to upheave everything. But women figuring prominently also in his first pick of chief of staff. That was really interesting because, again, we have that strong feminine energy that people thought was going to be Kamala Harris, but then he picks his first chief of staff, which is the first ever woman to be elected to that or selected for that position, which I found very interesting. And already we are seeing more and more women getting added to his building cabinet. So, and they're very strong women, which is kind of a surprise because we've heard so much that he doesn't align himself with strong women. So hopefully this is a good sign. This is a good sign that that feminine presence will kind of, uphold the status quo, at least when it comes to women's rights. So I think that it's almost kind of like it's happening for a reason. And I think that, again, that strong women presence that is in his cabinet will bring us into the future. Women also may figure, though, in negative ways, like I said before, people may, with that square to the north node, that's also in conjunct to Mars, they might be unpredictable. We might have women just doing crazy things, saying crazy things. There was a video actually in Connecticut that came out of a teacher, someone who teaches our students, that was saying on Snapchat to a whole bunch of people, I guess, that she was physically threatening to Trump supporters or Trump voters, people that voted for him, saying, "I know who you are, come at me, and you'll end up on a stretcher," pretty much kind of threatening. So she actually got fired for her position because of this crazy angry rhetoric that's been going on that really just needs to start calming down. This is that delusional we may see with the Venus in that wide square with Neptune. We might see a lot of more of that feminine energy just kind of going out of control a little bit. But I really hope there's no violence. Again, that rhetoric's just been out of control, but that is because of these oppositions, that Mars Pluto opposition, again, that's going to be going on for a while, is really about that just not accepting those in power, having the struggle with those that are in power, those that have just been elected into power. So I found that really kind of interesting and kind of telling in a kind of a scary kind of way. Now, I understand why people are scared. I understand especially why women are scared. That Mars, or that Neptune conjunct the North Node, is that what are we destined for? What is going to happen to us? What is going to happen to the world? Is it going to change totally as we know it, and is it going to be a better place or a worse place? So I know of a lot of y'all aren't going to like this. You may leave bad comments, or you may just unsubscribe. I'm not sure. I hope you don't. I hope you stay subscribing and you stay with me. And I ask you just to open your minds up. Let that Neptune energy just help you transcend above the negativity. Go above it. See above it. See through it. Kind of let your, the realization of what is real just come flowing in. Because it did, I always think, after I saw the first assassination attempt, it seemed to me that Trump was spared for a reason. Really easy shot that I've heard from different people that are shooting. My husband is a hunter, and he knows like a shot from that distance is very easy to make, and he just happened to turn his head at that very second. So it just makes you think, like, was he spared for a reason? And remember that Sun North Node Uranus conjunction in his natal chart is that destiny that he is meant to fulfill. So know that a lot of people don't like to think that, but you just, like I said, just try and keep an open mind, and let's just try and be positive about it, because I think the future, astrologically, if we can get past 2025 and early 2026, it looks very bright, it looks very positive, but I think there's going to be a lot of roughness. But if you know what's happening in the astrology, you might know why, and you might be able to kind of, like I said, transcend above it. Take time to, meditate, get away from it. You could, whatever makes you feel good, using crystals, just lighting incense, just kind of getting away. Taurus, again, is about being outside. Take a walk instead. If your mind is really angry and you're just watching too many things on TV and you're just getting like, I can't take this anymore, just get outside, go for a walk, throw a heavy coat on if it's freezing there like it is here, which is why we're inside. Those harsh, you want to ease those harsh aspects by keeping that open mind, to try to just let Neptune see things through rose-colored glasses instead of just seeing negative things. Seeing good where in the past you might have only seen the bad. You don't know what destiny has in store, and there are things that happen for a reason that we just don't understand. And Trump surviving that assassination attempt and getting elected president could be one of those things. So again, just try to see things a little bit open-minded. I know it's pretty soon. I know a lot of you probably are going to hate me, but just try. I think more bringing in positive and exuding positive will just make the world a more positive place instead of everyone just being so negative. So the North Node and Neptune in that applying conjunction is that unknown destiny, but it's trine the sun, and that means it's sextile to the moon and the Uranus conjunction. So these surprises, these unknown factors, these shocks, these things, these upheavals, they are ultimately in positive aspects, so they could be bringing us a positive future in the end. Just destiny is dependent on change. So you can't change, you can't have a good future without changing and growing and just riding along with what happens instead of just focusing on the negativity and the past. The future is at hand. I would love it if you guys would stay with me and navigate it with me together. Please hit the subscribe button so that we can just, grow together, go through this together, learn from all these aspects, learn how they're going to resonate with us. Also, we can, if you leave comments, it will help spread the word. So leave good comments, leave bad comments, say, whatever you want about me, say, hopefully good things more than bad things, but and then hit that notification bell as well, because the more interaction that we have to the channel will get me on that algorithm, so we can get the word out to everybody else and kind of spread the good positivity in opposed to the negative. So that is kind of what I am striving for in the future. I hope y'all are with me, and I will see y'all soon. Have a good one.